We are battling with fungal growth on pallets for a couple of years now, and Muriel Rikhotso will tell us how to deal with this problem. Muriel is a post-harvest research technician trainee at CRI. You can come on, Muriel. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Muriel Rikhotso, and I've been working as an intern on this post-harvest project that I'll be giving my results on today. Giving a report on the work that is done on fungal degradation of wooden pallets that are used in export of citrus fruit. Just briefly, a pallet is this portable horizontal platform that is used as a base for assembling, for stacking, handling, and most importantly, for transporting shipping containers as a unit load. And according to statistics, about 1.9 to 2 billion pallets are used daily for various purposes. And as we've seen from the previous presenters, one of the presenters was showing, like in the citrus industry, pallets are very important because fruit are shipped to long distances international markets using these pallets. However, these exports to long markets are negatively affected by the fungal degradation of these wooden pallet bases. This is just like how it looks like on the picture on the left. So the pallet gets covered by fungi, but the problem is because the fruit box is directly placed onto the pallet, this may also affect the fruit. So this gives the basis of this project, try to find solution around the contamination of these fungal bases. So this project was subdivided into 3 aspects with 3 phases. The first phase was to investigate the role that is played by containers and storage facilities in both SOPP and fungal contamination. And the second phase was to identify the fungal contaminants in order to address any phytosanitary concern. And the third phase is to investigate any alternative chemicals that are not currently used in order to preserve these pallets. So the first phase of this project was looking at the OPP problem. And to give a brief background, fungicides are very important because they ensure good quality of fruits, mainly in the export market. And sodium orthophenylphenate, known as SOPP, and orthophenylphenol, known as OPP, were previously found effective as post-harvest treatments to treat fruits against microbial damage. However, due to environmental and health concerns that are associated with a lot of fungicide residues, this has led to like a suspension or a withdrawal of SOPP. And this is mainly due to the MRR, the maximum residue level that is allowed, which South Africa was not meeting. So SOPP is no longer applied, but there's been strange report where OPP residues are detected in fruit that are shipped from South Africa despite any known application. So if SOPP is not being applied, then where is this OPP coming from? So CRI has collaborated with PPECB and the industry in order to find the source of these OPP problems. And what was done is the Western Cape province of South Africa was visited, where a total of 6 cold stores and 3 container depots were visited. So the cold stores are where the fruits are stored before they are shipped, and then these are the containers that are used during shipping. So there are swabs that were taken from the cold stores and from the containers, and in total 151 swabs were collected, as well as the chemicals that are used to wash the containers. Wood slivers from the pallets that are used during exportation were also collected. And this is just how the swabs were done inside the container. So on the left here, we have the swabs were collected from the wall and then from the floor, from the evaporative cooling system at the back. So this was open and the swab was taken from the back, as well as the drainage system. And so the results were sent to Hitch-Neckins for analysis. And this is what was found. There was only 1 swab from the 151 that showed a positive detection of 0.09 milligrams of OPP. And with the other 150 swabs, there was zero detection of OPP. And the results from the chemicals that are used to wash the containers all came back negative. So this pointed us to now looking at the pallets, because the wood slivers that were sent showed a positive detection of OPP in the pallets. So now this brings me to the second phase of the project, which is the molecular identification of isolates from the infected wood. This was to find out if any of the fungi that grows on the wood is of any phytosanitary risk. So this phase was focused on mycology, which is the study of fungi. And so fungi are the biggest problem in the citrus industry. And this is because they reproduce by means of sexual and ancestral spores, and they spread very rapidly. So identifying the species will assist us in confirming appropriate product action, and it will also reaffirm any absence of phytosanitary threat. I'm now going to go into more details of more technical on the DNA extractions and how the analysis were done. And basically, DNA techniques were used, and this is because they are valuable in the identification of fungi. This is because fungi without taxonomic characteristics that form the basis of species description can be easily identified. So with DNA techniques, there are steps that are involved, which is extraction, purification, and PCR analysis using 3 primers. The reason for that was to verify species unrelatedness. And so far, there have been 268 isolates that were found on the infected wood. So there's still a bigger part of this that I didn't get to present in this this specific presentation. But if you can see here, the bigger part that forms this chart is Trichoderma, Fusarium, and Penicillium. So there are no red bells so far. There's no species that is of any concern. So coming to the third phase of the project, which was now to find the chemicals that can be used to treat these pallets, because now we've identified that the pallets are the problem, and we've identified that the species that grow on the wood are of no risk. And now the chemical, the alternatives that can be used to treat the pallets should be readily available, must be inexpensive, must be able to penetrate the wood, and must be able to control a variety of fungi, and must also be retained under a variety of physical conditions. And so with this is how the treatments were done. So 4 blocks of wood were used, 2 of which were used as the treatment, and 2 were used as the control. So with the treated blocks, there's in this bucket here, this is a chemical that was in the bucket. So the block that was marked T for treatment was immersed into the chemical and rotated for 5 minutes, and then was tied onto the beam that is already infected. So this one was alternated with treated, untreated, treated, untreated. So with the untreated block, the same procedure was used, but using water, using purified water. So the block was immersed into purified water and rotated for 5 minutes. Thereafter, so each treatment was repeated 3 times, and thereafter was placed into clear plastic bags, as seen from the picture, and was incubated at 34 degrees Celsius. So on the right-hand side here, this picture shows how the blocks were laid out, and like how we could tell if the treatment was working or not. So seen from these 2 blocks that are rounded, marked T, this is where the treated blocks, and you can see that these are still clean compared to the other 2 blocks. So this means that this specific product that was used here was effective in controlling fungi from growing from these 2 blocks. And this is how the scale that was used to measure the infection on the wood, with 0 being uninfected to the 3 being over 80% of growth. So if we found blocks that were falling between 0 and 1, they were considered for another round of testing. that if it was falling between 2 and 3, it was discarded and not considered for another round of testing. And when it comes to results, there are products that were found to be effective in controlling the fungal growth on the wood, one of which is known as Pallet. This showed outstanding results from this product. And as you can see from this picture, the block on the left, this was 2 to 3 weeks after treatment. The block on the left was the block that was not treated, and this is starting to develop fungi around it. However, the one on the right, which was the treated block, was protected. Not only was it protected, it pushed the fungi away from it. So the fungi was actually growing away from it. But there was a problem with the cost of this product. It was too expensive. The product owner had the product successfully reformulated in order to accommodate our industry needs. And the second product that worked very well is known as Elementum 17. This product has the same properties as the pallet, and it was easy to penetrate the wood, and it dried quickly compared to other products that were tested. And both Elementum 17 and Pallet are food safe, which is good. And the third product is the Organocide. Organocide showed acceptable results at high. This product was good because it has high cationic binding properties, but Organocide as a standalone product is currently not cost efficient. So what is happening now is they're trying to mix Organocide with Pallet in order to come up with a product that is going to show good results. And commercial testing is currently being done with these 3 products. A total of 11 other products were tested, but these were found ineffective, and this could be due to wood complicity. You find that some products were working for 3 to 4 weeks, and then they lost efficacy over time. So what is the take-home message from this project? The first thing is that cold stores and container are not the source of OPP, but pallets are. And any concern that is regarding phytosanitary risk of fungi that grows on the wood have been addressed, because there's no species that was found that is of any concern or risk. There are 3 products that have shown excellent results in preserving the wood. These are being tested at a commercial level, and they will be made available as soon as possible. So I'd just like to thank Voma and Elaine for being part of this project, Bernard from PPECB for helping out with all the swabs and the container visitations, as well as Stephen Boyson for the chemicals. So thank you for your time. Thank you for taking time to listen to this presentation. And I am done.